Hello, thank you so much for joining our Adventure Treks webinar tonight. My name is Amanda and this is Dave, or DMAC as many people know him. We are the owners, operators, and directors of Adventure Treks, and we really appreciate you spending time with us tonight. We're going to go through some of the ins and outs of Adventure Treks, who we are and what we do. But we'll also have some time for our one of our families to jump on, Kelly Keats from Durham, North Carolina. She is also going to jump on. Her kids have done almost 8 trips with us. This year will be the 8th trip for her daughters. And so she'll come on and talk a little bit about her experiences with us in a few minutes. Let's get started. So what we're going to talk about tonight, who we are as an organization, why we think we are unique in the world of, adventure travel for teenagers, and what our student goals are. So with that, DMAC, who is Adventure Treks?
Yeah, so Adventure Treks, we were founded in 1993, and we were founded out of the Western North Carolina summer camp industry. So we really hold our roots much more in summer camp than we do expedition type programs. So fun is a huge component of what we do. We've been doing technology-free outdoor adventure camps for teenagers where we really focus on building close-knit communities, personal growth, and taking a break from academic and athletic pressures so teenagers can have fun in the outdoors. Because we all know that the teenage years are incredibly formative in an adolescent's life. So we want to use outdoor adventures as a medium for learning important life skills like collaboration, critical thinking, and communication, and create spaces for teens to continue growing into their true, authentic selves. Something that's really hard to do in high school and middle school is getting to be that authentic self because there's so much pressure to fit in and be part of that in crowd. We want our teenagers to unplug from technology, become part of something bigger than themselves, and have an incredible amount of fun along the way. Students get to camp, hike, backpack, whitewater raft, rock climb, kayak, canoe, mountain bike, summit mountains, and much more, alongside great friends and caring role models. Our age-appropriate outdoor challenges allow students to step outside their comfort zone and truly grow in ways that they can't at school or in athletics.
I think if we were to sum up our student goals in 4 major themes, it's really for them to be a part of an inclusive community that feels like a second home, that prioritizes that culture of kindness and respect for our students. Their friendships that they make at Adventure Treks truly last long beyond their trips themselves. We hear of countless reunions throughout the school year, over the holidays. We'll have students actually plan their own outdoor adventures in the summer after they age out of Adventure Treks. Because being in an intentional community that takes place in the outdoors truly bonds people together like no other environment does. We really want our students to experience significant personal growth through that age-appropriate outdoor challenge and the community living and having leadership responsibilities. So we'll talk about this more in a bit, but we firmly believe that the outdoors are the perfect place for our students to develop and improve that leadership, active followership, the social and non-cognitive skills, the ones that the big companies like Google and Apple and so many other huge businesses in the world recognize as those skills needed to really succeed and thrive in today's technology forward world. We also want to take students to beautiful wilderness places, those areas they may not otherwise ever get the chance to visit with their family or on a school trip. Our goal is to take students out of the ordinary and place them in the extraordinary, somewhere where they can truly experience the power of awe, which research shows leads to more happiness and greater fulfillment in life, higher levels of critical thinking and generosity and cooperation. So we're really lucky to have that exclusive access to some places like Mount St. Helens or Mount Adams in Washington, or backpacking among these gorgeous wildflowers in British Columbia, places where not many people get to go. And we want our students to, again, make such good friends that they arrive home, wanting to do it all over again the following year with those same friends. We often hear from students that they were surprised to find, or they were surprised at how quickly they found common ground with other people they've never met before from all different areas of the United States and the world, how closely they bonded in such a short amount of time. And because everybody chose to push the envelope, push themselves out of their comfort zone to spend their summer with us, and because they have to work together as a team and support each other through different challenges, those relationships are even more meaningful and substantive. But before DMAC and I go on too much more, I'd love to bring Kelly on from North Carolina. So Kelly, whenever you are ready, we would love to hear a little bit more from you about your experiences with us.
Hi, I'm Kelly Keats. I have two daughters, McCallum and Avery. McCallum is a sophomore in college now, and Avery's a junior in high school. And between the two of them, this summer will be their 8th Adventure Treks trip. McCallum has done 4, and Avery will be doing her 4th this summer. Between the two of them, they've done the Yellowstone and Grand Teton Adventure, the Pacific Northwest, Blue Ridge, British Columbia, Idaho, I can't remember what else. I think that's, and then both McCallum did Alaska, and Avery's going to be doing Alaska this summer. I can't say enough wonderful things about Adventure Treks. It has done fantastic things for both of my girls. We joke in our family that it's the giant reset button. Every summer they go off to Adventure Treks, and when they come back, they are more adventurous, they are more independent, they're more responsible, they're more motivated, they try new things. One day they came back, and the first thing they did was they both wanted to try wasabi, which they'd never done before. And for kids who we considered what we call picketarians, that was quite a feat. They talk about Adventure Treks it's nice having two who've been through the program, because they'll carry on some of the traditions once they get home. We'll be doing pluses and deltas and circle, and I'm sure I have all the nomenclature wrong because they correct us on it, but they'll be doing the same songs and same chants and all of the things, and they love it. They can't wait to go back. My older daughter had planned a reunion. Unfortunately, it was during one of the COVID outbreaks, and so she wasn't able to do that year. But they keep in touch with their friends. One has been to visit a friend in New York. We live in North Carolina. They've had friends come down here. Actually, when they went to see Taylor Swift in Tennessee, they were joined by other AT friends who flew to Tennessee from Chicago and from New York. So, they keep in touch with these kids for a long time. I'm not sure what else to say other than we just love how independent it makes our kids. They really thrive. They actually talk about how they like the fact that there's no technology. They like having a break from it. They like not depending on that. And then they come back and they decide, you know what, I really don't want to be on Instagram anymore. Or one of them did. That comes and goes depending on the day or the year. But we just love it and love the opportunities that it brings. I am not the most outdoorsy person, so this is an opportunity that the kinds of trips that they go on are things that we probably wouldn't do as a family. Certainly not to the extent, we'll go on a hike, but maybe not a week-long backpacking expedition where you're completely off the grid. Not my thing so much. But they love it and really, really thrive in that environment.
Lovely. Thank you, Kelly. I love hearing that. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about some of the AT philosophy, and then we're going to bring Kelly back in a little bit and see if she has anything else to add. So thank you for now, Kelly. We'll talk to you again in a few. Well, with Adventure Treks, there's a lot of options out there for summer programs. And I think there are a few things that really allow Adventure Treks to stand out from other companies. And one of those is our student to instructor ratio and our instructors' experience, our overall staff experience. On every trip with Adventure Treks, we maintain a 4-to-1 student to instructor ratio. Most other companies have a 6 or 7 to 1, so fewer adults with their groups of students. And we like our lower ratio. We think it has several important benefits. One is a more honed in focus on risk management. If anything needs to change with our groupings, we have more adults with our groups who can help make decisions if any situations come up. And we're never leaving large groups of students, 12, 13, 14, 15 students with only one instructor. Every staff team itself will be led by a returning Adventure Treks instructor as well. So we'll never have new staff who have never seen Adventure Treks operate before be on those staff teams and be in charge of running those groups and trips for our students. And having more staff on every group, larger staff teams for our students, means that we'll have a wider breadth of knowledge and experience, personalities, and skills among our staff teams. So when we're putting together our staff teams for each of our trips in the spring, we're balancing those skills and those experiences to have the most professional team possible. And we also want to create staff teams with different personalities in mind as well. And that way students have multiple perspectives and role models with different teaching styles. And that keeps our groups really nicely balanced and very dynamic, and really helps that group to bond even more. And that smaller ratio of student to staff really means that students do get that personal attention, the guidance, teaching, and role modeling that they've signed up for, that they deserve. More instructors means we can more easily meet our students where they're at if they need more support learning a new skill, or if they already have experience in an outdoor skill or with cooking, for example, and really want to advance their knowledge. We not only have the experience, but the numbers to help make that happen. And to talk a little bit more about our staff.
And I feel like staff are the thing for us that really I could talk all day on. I feel so fortunate in the people who decide to work with Adventure Treks every summer. It's just a joy to see who they are and the skills they bring. And with that, our staff, they're professional educators. They're people who they do this, maybe not year round. Sometimes they're teachers. A lot of them are still in college or university getting a second degree or an advanced degree. Some are ski patrol, ski instructors, but they all have done this before. They've all worked in the outdoors, be it at a college or university, a summer camp with a guide company, and they've all worked with youth. So we're not looking for that 18, 19-year-old who wants this really fun one summer experience. We're looking for folks who have a history of excellence of working in the outdoors, not just folks who want that one-off summer experience. And with that, our instructor retention is extremely high. We have about a 60% return rate with our instructors each year. So we know over half of our staff really well the decisions they're going to make, how much fun they are, the role model that they're going to be for your child in the summer. And we feel really fortunate about the folks, not just joining us the first time, but also the people who are coming back year after year. And with that, all of our staff, both new and returning instructors, come to a 2-week orientation and training. And it doesn't matter if it's their first year or their 15th season with us, they're going to come to that mandatory 2-week experience of orienting to Adventure Treks, changes in policies and procedures. And it's also a time where Amanda, myself, the other directors and administrators at Adventure Treks can really see firsthand how staff teams are forming, how our new instructors are doing, where we need to change our teaching to make sure that they're up to par for what we need each summer.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing I think, along with the staff experience and our staff ratios, is that we also have larger student groups. So we have the ability to host larger groups up to 20 or 24, depending on the trip. And our students and parents love this model for many reasons. For our students, it allows them to befriend even more people from varied backgrounds all over the US, all over the world, from different cultures with different hobbies, different lifestyles. And on our trips, we'll spend time both in the bigger group. If we have a full trip of 24 students with 6 instructors, sometimes we'll be in that whole big group, which is a ton of fun celebrating each other. Whitewater rafting, for example, is a time when we're all together in that big group. And for some other activities like backpacking, we're going to break up into smaller groups for that. in those smaller groups, that's where we see so much of the bonding and those friendship roots taking form. People can get to know each other on a more personal and deeper level, and they tend to find their voice and their place in the community. So our goal is throughout a whole trip, our students will get to spend time in those small groups with every other student and instructor at least once to have that bonding opportunity. And then we'll come back into the big group again to celebrate what we've just done and have a ton of fun as a big group. And that also makes our social dynamics a little bit easier to manage. So with the larger group that flows in and out of smaller groups, we can fluidly manage those social groups to keep everybody's experiences as positive and as fun as possible.
And so with that, one of our biggest goals at Adventure Treks is building an intentional community on our trip, a place where students get to be their most authentic, their genuine self, and they don't just get to be it, they're also celebrated for it by a group of students who, whatever they might be into, they're going to ask the questions, they're going to support it, they're going to celebrate it, creating that non-judgmental environment for them to be truly who they want to be. Because we want our students to laugh as much as possible, be themselves, and be appreciated for who they really are. And we create a strong culture of kindness and sense of belonging within our communities where everybody feels valued and included. The friendships that our students make last long beyond the summer. And as Amanda said, there's reunions that happen throughout the year. Kelly said it as well. Students meeting up, going to Taylor Swift or just to see each other. And that's really what Adventure Treks is at its core, creating a place where folks get to feel that authentic ability to be themselves. We also strive to be a place where students can be who they truly want to be. They can break free of whatever personality they've taken on at home, the pigeonholing or stereotyping into being whoever they are in middle school or high school, and they get to rewrite that story. They get to do it in a place that's supportive and judgment-free community, people who celebrate them for who they are, not just who we think they are.
And as I mentioned earlier, we want to do all of this in the outdoors. We want to do this in a place where, we consider outdoor adventure as the vehicle for creating these communities and allowing students to experience this personal growth. Each of our trips has a variety of activities. We want to be a multi-sport adventure so students can try a whole bunch of new things, progress in different outdoor skills, and fall in love with, maybe one or two or maybe all of the activities that they do on their trip. From biking to climbing to summiting mountains. Each of our trips has age-appropriate outdoor challenge that allows students to continuously push the boundaries of their comfort zones and experience that personal growth as they grow more competent in these skills and become more comfortable in the discomfort and experiencing that discomfort and those challenges. They grow more confident, and so that mindset that they grow at Adventure Treks, that growth mindset that we really want them to adopt or increase, that they can bring home and apply to new adventures and challenges they might encounter there. And no experience is necessary. I think it's really important to know that a lot of students will probably be nervous their first day with us, whether they're new or returning. That's completely normal and something that we expect. But they don't have to worry if they've never rock climbed or backpacked or canoed on a lake in British Columbia. Chances are a lot of the other students on that trip haven't either. So we'll teach them everything they need to know to succeed. And if they do have experience, that's fantastic as well. We'll help them take those skills to the next level.
And in addition to those skills that Amanda's talking about, we also really focus on improving life skills and non-cognitive skills. Some skills that are really hard to learn in academic settings, but are really easy to learn and to experience at Adventure Treks. And with that, we really focus on an organization that's called the Partnership for 21st Century Skills. It was the Department of Education, a lot of big tech firms, Apple, Google, Dell, they came together and they looked ahead and they said, what are the skills necessary to be a leader of tomorrow? Not just the people today, but what do we need? And they found that it's not the STEM skills that are lacking, the science, tech, engineering, math. Those skills are being taught at an incredible rate, and people have those skills readily available. But what they found was it was those things like creativity, collaboration, communication, leadership, Those are the skills that the leaders of tomorrow should have in order to be successful. And those things are taught every day at Adventure Treks. And another thing we found, just due to the modern comforts, especially in the post-COVID world, post-pandemic, where more and more young people are not seeking experiences outside of their comfort zone. They want to be in front of a screen, sitting on a couch, scrolling away on Instagram, TikTok, whatever social media platform it is, and feel immediately comfortable. And studies are showing that those long-term consequences are actually profound for those doom scrolling, as some people call it, the quick dopamine hit that they're getting, that those consequences of that are going to create big obstacles later in life. So by challenging ourselves, we learn more about who we are and what our abilities are, which helps us grow into the potential that we have to be, and not just letting our potential be unrecognized. It also helps us with our emotional regulation. When we are challenged over and over again and we finally succeed, that's a much more rewarding dopamine experience than it is when you're on Instagram constantly looking at people having that really quick, less effective dopamine experience, dopamine release. And so the short term is much less gratifying than that long-term challenge to get somewhere by being outside of your comfort zone and getting that experience. And our graduates say their experiences were defining and profound learning experiences that significantly improved their confidence, their independence, communication, and teamwork skills, otherwise known as those non-cognitive skills that we're able to teach so well at Adventure Treks. Here they'll have endless opportunities to practice collaboration, creativity, critical thinking, and leadership. And while they're having optimism and resilience, because every day we're going to experience something new and incredible.
And we all know that teenagers face higher pressure than ever these days, with especially in academics and especially with sports taking up more and more time, not only during the school year, but also during the summer. And we want to be sort of the panacea to this pressure-filled life for young people. We want them to spend time in nature with a supportive and fun community of peers. Research shows that kids who spend time outdoors have better social awareness, higher confidence, more creativity, reduced stress. I mean, there are really common themes here. Than kids who do spend most of their time indoors. And so with us, they can decompress from those stressors of social media and their phones and just simply enjoy their surroundings and be face to face with people who are fun and care about them as people. So at this moment, Kelly, I'd love to see if there's anything else that you'd like to add. You know, if there's anything on the non-cognitive side, for example, that you've seen in Avery and McCallum. So if you'd like to come back up and speak, we've got some time for that.
Sure. You know, something that popped into my head as you all were talking, it's about the instructors and everything with that. It can be strange as a parent to send your children across the country when you've never met the people that are going to be working with them, leading them, instructing them, taking care of them, basically, making sure they don't die when they're away from you, and you've never met them before. And one of the things that I think it's important for other parents to know who are considering this is that during the whole lead up, there's a whole questionnaire of things. What are things we need to know about your kids? What are your concerns? What are your child's strengths? And the kids have to fill out their own questionnaire and respond to their own questions, but their responses aren't always the same as yours. But it's nice that you have that connection. And then also in the days leading up to the trip, we get a phone call from one of the instructors on the trip, just talking to us, introducing themselves. Hey, this is my phone number. If this comes across your phone, pick up. But also, you know, any questions, any concerns. And for one of my kids, homesickness is a thing. And we know that the first few days are going to be rough every year. And so it gives us an opportunity to tell them, okay, here's what's worked in the past. Here's the things, but we know she's going to get through it. She knows she's going to get through it. So even though she may be weepy for a few days, keep plugging away and she'll be fine. We had some family situation last summer, right before we went, where where Avery's grandmother passed away or was about to pass away right before we left. And so we were able to inform the instructors about that, so they knew, okay, there might be a little extra support needed. And the trip worked out fantastic for her. She ended up, she didn't want to go, but she's like, I know I should go. And she ended up working through it. And the confidence that gave her working through that specific experience is invaluable. Having the experience of, I know this is hard. I know this is something that I need to be doing for myself. There's no point in staying home and crying. I'd rather be here anyway. But then to make herself do it and really get the most out of it. And she ended up having a fantastic experience with that. And so for us to know that they have the support to go through things like that, obviously that's not the focus, but to have the support to deal with any kind of issues the kids might have that come up like that, that's pretty amazing. And the confidence that we see after they come home, knowing that, hey, I did something hard and I had the support and I really am thriving at the end of it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kelly. I think you just summed up a lot of this really nicely. A lot of kids need a push, whether it's the push from themselves or a gentle push from their parents to take the leap, whether it's the first time or the fourth time to join adventure treks, because regardless of how many times you might have done this in the past or grown up going to summer camp, it's always still a big deal. It's a big investment in your emotions and your wallet. You want to make sure that it's a good fit. Sometimes kids just need that push, and it's so wonderful when you realize that they have realized the benefits of the situations that they put themselves in and how they grow through it. So thank you, Kelly. I really appreciate you sharing that. Really most important of our trips, what we want our students to experience, we want them to have a ton of fun. We want them to make those unforgettable memories, build those lifelong friendships, and nurture an appreciation for nature. And we want them to feel, like Kelly mentioned, incredibly accomplished for everything that they've achieved, really proud of themselves, coming home walking a little bit taller with a smile that doesn't go away for weeks and weeks. We want our students to remember those experiences for the rest of their lives, because not many people can say that they've stood on top of a snow-covered volcano and looked down into a crater, or that they've eaten dinner with their best friends on a secluded beach while the sun sets, or even that they completed their first ever backpacking trip, and just worked so hard and exceeded even their wildest expectations of what they were capable of doing. So those are the memories we want our students to make, and those accomplishments that we hope they'll achieve while on an AT trip this summer. So as we kind of near the end of our webinar, we'll go through a few frequently asked questions that our parents have, some of the most common ones that we hear. With friends, most of our students for the first time do come without a friend, but they are welcome to bring somebody from home. So we do have friend pairs on each of our trips, though we limit those because we want to make sure that the friends or the students who are coming without a friend aren't just jumping straight into a group that's already been formed at home, so that it feels really inclusive, not exclusive, the first day that they arrive. Most of our students fly to us independently. We are at the airport ready to greet our students as they land, and on closing day, we are there at the airport with all of our students, helping them check in, check their baggage, and making sure they get to where they need to go, so they don't miss their flights. And so we're at the airport pretty much all day with our students on closing day as well. Because we're tech-free, students won't have their phones throughout most of the trip. However, because they mostly fly to us independently, they are welcome to bring their phones for those travel days, and then they will turn them back on a few times throughout the trip to say hi and make some quick phone calls to parents to let them know that they are having fun and everything is going well. We can easily accommodate food allergies and picky eaters. I love the picketarians. I think that's what Kelly said. I've never heard that anymore. It's super funny. Lots of kids who are picky eaters typically try new foods and surprise themselves with how much they love the Adventure Treks food. So we can absolutely accommodate that. tuition is all inclusive, so there's no need to rent or buy most of that expensive gear that you do usually have to get at other programs, like a sleeping bag, backpack, that sort of stuff. We do include all of that in our tuition for all of our students. And speaking of equipment and gear, we do sleep in tents every night, 3 students of the same gender to a 4-person tent. And students are usually pretty surprised at how well they actually sleep in the outdoors, especially for their first time. Students will always be able to practice good hygiene. It is something that we emphasize to keep all of our groups as healthy and safe as possible. So they'll always have access to soap and water and hand sanitizer, even if we are off in the middle of the woods away from running water. We do emphasize hygiene, even if we're not, near showers and sinks every single day. And enrolling is really easy. As Kelly mentioned, we do have an admissions process. We love to get to know our students and our families long before they even join us in the summer. And so if you are ready to get started, you can head to our website, click on Enroll Now, and get ready to embark on the adventure of a lifetime. So thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time tonight, learning a little bit more about Adventure Treks. Kelly, thank you so much for joining us. It was lovely to hear from you, and we really appreciate it. We know that other families do as well. If you have any questions, please feel free to send us an email or give us a call. We are always happy to chat, see if we're a good fit for you, and get all of your questions answered. Thank you again, everybody. Have a wonderful evening.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.